So I have to give my car a car wash, but how are you gonna do that in the middle of COVID on Christmas in California? Hello and welcome. My name is Alex Gonzalez, and with me today is my good old friend J.E.
Hey, that's me.
And please remember that we are not game devs. How are you doing today, Jay?
Just go through an automatic car wash and then get in the back do the dollar to vacuum thing. You know what I mean?
I think that's what I'm gonna do. But those are not the car washes we are talking about today. Today, we are creating something new. Every week, We Are Not Game Devs will create a new exciting video game idea that we have always wanted to play, but do not have any knowledge or know how to create the wonderful experience that are video games. And today is my turn to present We Are Not Game Devs 135th IP Part 2, because this is special. This IP is going to be entered into a contest for Space Jam New Legacy. They are having a contest currently where you can design a game, describe your game in 500 words. And Jay and I thought, you know what? We're pretty good at this. We've done this now for 135 episodes. Why not throw our hats in the ring and make a video game? And on the page, they talked a little bit about the synopsis in which LeBron James and his son are having a hard time connecting. And there's a rogue AI that traps LeBron in the digital space. It's up to Bugs Bunny and the rest of the Looney Tunes, including Lola Bunny, took me a bit, to save him. But I wanted to get started and make a game that's the adventure and tactics kind of game out of the templates. And I'm going to give you a little brief description of it. Now, I'm going to say that the Rogue AI has been watching clips and clips of not only LeBron, but Looney Tunes. In fact, the Rogue AI knows a bunch about them. So when LeBron and the Looney Tunes get swallowed up into cyberspace along with his son, he finds out that LeBron's son, that the Rogue AI has also been collecting trading cards of not only LeBron, but of different Looney Tunes and different collector's items across online, and also has unique NBA star talents. So LeBron's son, which his name is Dom, challenges the Rogue AI to a card battle because he himself has his own cards from his childhood. And what I want to make is a game where you play as Dom using not only LeBron's basketball cards, but also Looney Tunes cards with offense and defense points that you can place on the cards on, instead of a battlefield, let's say a basketball court against your opponent. And then you can play additional shooting cards or trick cards to trick your opponent. And that's what I've got so far, Jay. What do you think?
Okay. Since this game will be a card game that takes place on a I'm assuming like a top-down view of a basketball court, how I kind of see this like kind of being set up, what I imagine is each turn what you would have to do is put down, let's say, up to 5 players onto the court. And maybe at first you have to keep however many you can on your side of the court, and then you could maybe what it is, you could only spawn your players up to 5 on your side of the court, and then the other team is doing the same thing, where in each round they will be able to move up spaces on the court diagonally forward, left, right, depending on their position. They might even have different like move sets, like maybe it's like chess where like the forward could move 3 spaces up and that type of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing because I don't know where the positions are in basketball.
No, and no problem. And what I want to also say is I don't want to make it too complicated. So I want it to be based on you choose your 5 players, and then those 5 players come with additional cards that they use. So Roadrunner would not play the same as Wile E. Coyote, who would not play the same as Bugs Bunny, who would definitely not play the same as Elmer Fudd. So depending on your team choice, they come with their own cards that get shuffled in, and then you get to choose from there. So, for instance, we'll say Tasmanian Devil's more of a defensive player. So he's going to have less shooting cards, maybe more blocking cards and defense.
Yeah. So kind of how I imagine it, to expand on that further. Yeah. So if you're cool with it, we'll have it like set up where this board, I guess, would be 5 widthwise and maybe like 20 lengthwise, you know? And then
Yeah.
you'd have to advance your players around the court. You could keep a defensive player on your side of the court as well, just to play defense. And then one of the offensive players might be like well-rounded and be able to move back and forth pretty easily.
Why don't we streamline it? Why don't we break it up into 2 phases? So one phase would be attacking, one phase, and then the other phase would be defending. That way, instead of advancing your players, there will be kind of already a setup happening. So you don't have to move the players up so much. But it would just start at like the half court line or throwing in every time.
Well, I think
so. We'll say that it's not a full court defense, that the other team will be waiting in the other half of the court. But you can still decide which player passes it in and which player is going to pick it up.
But I do still think that there should be the ability for players to go onto both sides of the court very easily. Like I say 20 deep, but I'm saying like these players, depending on what card they are, some of them can move like 6 blocks at a time. What I imagine, since basketball, it's a quick paced game. You are on both sides of the court pretty quickly. Like sometimes within like 2-3 minutes, they could go from one side to the other side, back to the other side. You know what I mean? Because these people are really, really tall.
What I was thinking was we could include different skills cards. For instance, Roadrunner, LeBron, Bugs Bunny would all be capable of the fast break attack card. So upon a rebound or upon a pass, if they're in a certain position, they can initiate a fast break attack, like you said, where they move fast to the other side of the court and try to score.
Okay. So how about we have it then where these skill cards, quote unquote, will have like the position, and whatever card that is on your court at that time has that position. You could use that skill card for that card. Does that make sense? Like if you have a forward position on card skill, then you could use it on any forward player you might have on the court at that given time. And I guess how this would work, since you'll be drawing cards, I'm assuming every round, maybe even on both rounds, once for you, once for the opponent. You're going to have a lot of players and a lot of skills in your hand, and maybe another card that we haven't discussed yet. What's the rules of when your player gets off the court? Is it like a one-time defense thing? Maybe some cards have like a double, you could guard twice before that player has to be removed from the court. Like, is it like 1-2 guards, or like
we'll say that maybe you can do a substitution if you want to bring somebody in. And then what we'll say is if there's a, let's say, if they're down to like 1 or 2 cards, if they can't do defense and offense anymore, then you got to sub them in. And basically it'll just shuffle the deck again, and then you can sub another player in. But I imagine this being a game where you can customize it, where, you can play up to 10 points, you can play up to 21 points, or you can play a time limit game if you'd like. And I guess that's where the subbing would happen. You play different characters.
Yeah, I was actually going to say maybe the tournament rule set would be you have to play 50 turns or something like that. Like after 50 turns, whoever has the most points wins, So it's like kind of like a fake timer. I guess it'd be 60 turns for like 60 minutes or whatever. It's not going to take 60 minutes, obviously. But it's like each turn is representing a minute. You know what I mean? So maybe that's like the official rules is you have 60 turns, and then at the end of it, whoever has the most. And then you could play, of course, a shorter game if you want, just 30 turns. You could just do 10 turns if you really wanted that, and all that type of thing.
I'd also want there to be special cards that activate depending on the position or depending on players or what's going on at the time, or different like cards that give specialty things. We're gonna have to limit when or how much you can use them, maybe once every 10 turns or once every 5 turns. But like a LeBron alley-oop or a Bugs Bunny doing a what's up doc, or Elmer Fudd shooting the ball
Yeah.
out of the air with his gun, something of that nature. Wile E. Coyote painting a fake basket so the other team misses.
I think those we could put under the loony cards, which will be just wild cards in this game.
Oh yeah, that
maybe
works.
in the game you could only have 3 loony cards max in a deck. Let's say that. And once you use your 3 loony cards or something, every time you use one, it is taken out of the game permanently, whereas every other card in your deck keeps getting shuffled back in. And like, let's say at the end of your deck, let's say if a deck has 40 cards, 4 of them can be loony cards. And then when you run out of cards, it goes back. Everything but your loony cards goes back in the deck and then shuffled. You can keep the loony cards in your hands and play them whenever you'd like, I'd say.
Okay.
So they're just gonna be wild cards, and even if you have 5 players on your team and you have a loony Bugs Bunny card, but Bugs Bunny's not on the court at the time, I'd say you could just play it. It's just a wild card that you can play. And maybe there are defensive loony cards as well.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking if Bugs Bunny isn't on the court for whatever reason, but you draw a card, it would just be one of those magic moments where instead of Bugs Bunny creating maybe a play, all of a sudden he'll pass around the juice, the magic water bottle, and then everybody takes sips out of that water bottle and they get buffs so that they perform better. Maybe they get more attack speed, maybe more accuracy, and it's just a confidence boost.
Yeah, or maybe what it also even further strategy. Let's say you play the Bugs Bunny loony card, but then your opponent plays the Elmer Fudge loony card, and it's like a counter to that, and it like stops whatever effect that loony card is. Or is that a little too deep?
No, we could do that. I think we could have things that are a little deeper. It's not too deep, and still the regular player is going to enjoy it. And let's say this happens and they accidentally run into it. I don't think they'll get very angry about it.
Yeah.
It would be cool if there was Go ahead.
No, go for it. No, you go.
I was just thinking just Easter eggs like that. You could load up the game with different interactions with how cards interact with each other.
Yeah. What I was going to say is adding another card type, or not a card type, adding an effect maybe to certain cards. Like, let's say there's Lola Bunny you have on the court and you put Bugs Bunny on the court, and then maybe there's fine lines, fine text beneath all their like stats on the card on telling you what it does. Is if you have Bugs Bunny and Lola Bunny on the court at the same time and they get within certain amount of space, maybe you could activate like a special combo move with those two. You know what I mean? Like if you had Runner and Wile E. Coyote on the court at the same time, and they get so far close to each other, then you get a special effect that you could use at only during those times. And then so that will have it so when you're building your deck, you want to if you put in Wile E. Coyote, you're going to want to put Roadrunner cards. And then we'll have like different variations of Wile E. Coyote. There'll be like a few different cards and then a few different Roadrunners and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And I'm thinking the AI will be using maybe shadow tunes, but as well as NBA superstars. I can imagine the rogue AI using like a rookie LeBron, for instance, a younger LeBron that just comes in. and using other NBA stars known around the league, depending on what's allowed or not. It could be maybe something like an all-star lineup where you have things like James Harden, Stephen Curry, young LeBron, maybe like different characters like that, maybe a rookie, Allen Iverson, you never know.
Yeah. That just sparked an idea for me in terms of how the game's going to be laid out. So let's say you, as the main character, when you first start out, you have mostly Looney Tune cards. You have some basketball cards because you got it from like your own collection and LeBron James collection, right? And so you have some basketball cards, but most of it's Looney Tune cards since you're, a child. And while you're playing the game, you're going to face off more and more against these AI who more or less favor more the NBA cards and has some Looney Tune cards, but not as much. And so while you're progressing through the game, you have to beat these AI computers. And when you beat them, you get their NBA card that they have, like their special NBA cards. Yeah. So that's when you get their like rookie cards for whatever their favorite NBA player is,
And we can even have some of them where we save Looney Tunes who are stuck, and maybe that's why they're using their cards. For instance, like I just had his name and then I forgot. The Rooster. I said, hold on.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name right now either. You're supposed to be my Looney Tunes crutch.
I am. Hold on. I got this.
You mean Google got this? I see you. I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Foghorn Leghorn. There we go. So it's Foghorn Leghorn. So something like that where you get him. He's one of my favorites too. So like where you can win him, you can win Tasmanian Devil over, Yosemite Sam, all those good ones. So I like where this game's at. I like where the story's at. For the music, I was thinking really generic basketball music that would make sense in a digital space, like bum 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 charge. That's a very easy one. I still want the Space Jam theme, but digitized, like da 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 ba da ba da da da. And I don't know what else to put
Looney
in
Tunes
there. I was
music,
thinking,
probably.
Oh yeah. Looney Tunes music would be perfect as well. Definitely.
I mean, they're tunes,
especially
right?
when you're activating Looney Tunes cards. I think exactly. And when you're using special cards, it would be cool for the music to go over it. All right. Now, in terms of graphics, I keep thinking for some reason I'm just going like regular 16-bit, maybe a little bit better than that, but 2D still looking.
In terms of I mean, I just saw that
we could do.
I just saw them.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just saw it as like cards, literally just cards on like a basketball court, and then when you activate certain skills, that's when like things will pop up, and then there'll be like a short.
No, we're in cyberspace. So when you put the cards down, the player cards, I would want there to almost be like a hologram or digitized version of them come up, where it's maybe and almost like a hologram version too, where maybe there's like a little bit of CRT lines, not too many, but it has that like bluish, almost hologram ghost look to them, but they still look realistic.
Yeah. Then I kind of picture something like Mega Man Battle Network, where it's kind of like this.
Yeah, a 2D plane, but
yeah.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, isometric. It's over the top. But not really like bird's eye view. It's going to be if we were going to be doing angles, I'd say something like 60 degrees. Right. And you're looking at them from the side, and you're going to see them both advancing, and they'll be staggered on each other. Okay. Perfect. All right, Jay. Let's get your timer out because we're going to name this game.
And go. Space Jam. I don't know. Space Jam.
Space Jam, a jam in cyberspace.
I was gonna put something about cards in there.
Yeah. Let's see. Space Jam. Space Jam, a new legacy. Or Space Jam, the ultimate trump card.
Man, I just don't know.
We'll go with Space Jam Trapped in Cyberspace.
Nothing we could throw in. Is there any other words for cards? A deck?
No. Okay. Space Jam, a new legacy, a stacked deck. The house always
Do we want
wins.
to put a new legacy in there? Or I guess we would have to. It's based off the movie. So yeah.
Yeah. Space Jam, a new
Space
legacy.
Jam, a new legacy.
A stacked deck. The house always wins.
I'm fine with stack deck. Let's do stack deck.
Space Jam, a new legacy, a stacked deck in how long?
2 minutes and 10 seconds.
All right. So we're going to change some of the ending here because we already know what the music is. We know who's developing this game as we are going to submit it. So I'm going to give a quick overview. Space Jam, a new legacy, a stacked deck, is an adventure tactics game where you select 5 different players, including LeBron, as you play as Dom LeBron. It's trapped in cyberspace going against a rogue AI. You must choose between Looney Tunes, and then with that, you construct a deck out of those players, and you must play your cards just right to beat the AI. Whether that means using your specials, working together, or coming up with crazy trick shots in a stacked deck. All right. And with that, our 135th IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience that will probably never release. You can write to @poundgames@gmail.com if you have anything to patch into the game we create today. Also, give us feedback. We are still learning how to make this show better, and your feedback really helps. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to back our ideas, please head over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Patrons receive episodes 2 days early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which you did not catch the tail end of because this is a special episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. If you liked our show, why not subscribe and give us all the stars on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, YouTube, and more. If they ask for a review instead of reviewing our show, become your in-a-game critic and review Space Jam: A New Legacy, a stacked deck, the video game we just created. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Friday with another new IP. Again, my name is Alex Gonzalez.
And I'm J.E.
Thank you, and please remember that we are not game devs.
All I have to say, Alex, is I would play this game, and I think it would be a lot of fun.
I would play the game too, and I know it would be tons of fun. I like hard games.